Hello friends, welcome to C Sharp Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. In this video, we are going to see the example that we create in the next coming videos. So in the last video, we created a test class. We set assembly information. Now we will talk about the example. So we know that we already set this assembly information as part of our DLL assembly property. Then this is our example, and if you click get assembly info here, this will display basic assembly information. Then here, if you see, this is our, and if you see here, we are displaying assembly title, company information. We just took two example, and assembly title, if you see, that's here, and then company information, that one is here. So we retrieve these two information and we display that here in the output. And if you see, this is the Windows form, right? So this is a exe. This exe is consuming the DLL. So in our application, that's all we have, and the code which we write for get assembly info stays on this DLL. So here, if you see, here we are stating entry point assembly. Entry point assembly is our exe. Why? Because this is the starting point for our application, or when you launch the application, exe will get loaded. So we will display what is the entry point assembly, and entry point assembly is 09 reflection enumerate. So that's the entry point assembly. And we also locate the file location of that assembly. Then when we make a call to calling assembly, so here if you see exe, the calling assembly is also the executable file, and we print that location. And code which is executing to retrieve this information is on the DLL. So that's what called executing assembly. So executing assembly in the sense currently executing assembly to retrieve the information asked by the application. So the executing assembly is to test reflection.dll. So here if you see calling assembly sometimes vary. Here exe is the entry point and exe is the calling assembly as well. Here sometimes exe may call some other DLL, and the DLL may call this one. So in that case, this is the entry point, this is calling assembly, this one is the executing assembly. Next, our second part of the example is to retrieve the class information. So our DLL contains a class called test class, and test class contains fields. So these are all the public field. It contains some properties and it contains some methods. So once you click retrieve test class info, we will clear this multi-line text box. Then if you see, the DLL contains test classes, so that we display first. After that, we retrieve all the property and display it. Here if you see, we have two properties. We retrieve that at runtime and we will display that. While we are retrieving it, we also read whether the property is read only or read write or write only. Here in this example, if you see, read equal to true, write is equal to true, that means this property is read write property. And in the second one, if you see, the read is true and write is false, that means this specific property is read only. So we retrieve that information at runtime. After that, we retrieve the field. If you see, field name int value 1, so that we retrieve that. Then we retrieve its data type also. Likewise, we retrieve other public members. So here if you see, there are 3 public members and we retrieve all 3 and we display that. Then we retrieve member functions also. So when we retrieve member function, we display method name, we display the return type, and we also display the param and its type. So all this stuff we will do in the second part. So in the first part, we will specify what is the calling assembly, what is the entry point assembly, and what is the executing assembly. All those information we will retrieve. Then we will also retrieve basic information like the assembly information which was set via the property. After that, the second button will retrieve all the type information. So here our DLL contains only one type. If you add multiple type, we can retrieve all those type and its internal members. So that's what we are going to do in the next coming videos. Now let's go to the demo and look at the form design. So here is our form, and this form template is available for you to download. In the last video, we created this class library project. Then in the same solution itself, we are adding a new exe project, and in the new exe project we designed the form like this. So the form here contains, so this is just a form title. We have 2 buttons. One is btn get assembly, and the next one is btn type info. Then we have a multi-line text box. So we name it as txt info display. We asked for a vertical scroll bar, and we set multi-line property to true. So when you run it, our sample will look like this. When you click get assembly, it will retrieve assembly related information. Then when you click on retrieve test class info, it will retrieve all the type information from the class. So here if you see, this is the DLL, and this DLL exposes only one class, test class. When you click, you are getting these information, right? Same stuff we will get at runtime. Yeah. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.